That stinks, doesn't it? God almighty. Just got a text this morning.
Okay. Wow, yeah. Means network will start at 8, so your Buzz pregame show will be 6 a.m. Think about it.
I know.
Usually do from that restaurant, it's going to be 6 a.m.
Yes.
2 hours for the network show.
You ready?
Yeah.
Check. Check. 1, 2. I saw it. Check. Check. 1, 2. Think if we need more juice. Is that good? Hear me in the back. Check. All right. We're going to get this show on the road. It is a packed house. I do want to apologize. We were supposed to have one more bay to our left that we do not have. So, Touchdown Club members, come together, get to know the smell of your fellow members' perfume or cologne today, all right? And tell them whether you like it or not. Maybe they need to put some on, is what you need to say. So we apologize for that. I don't think we're going to have live video on the screen, so we apologize for that. So just like the Hog offense, it's a little struggles there right out of the first game in Fayetteville. We got a few struggles here today. We're going to get through it. We're going to get better. We'll bounce back. I do want to welcome everybody here. You know, Mondays, we've talked about this, has sort of become the place to be. So many different folks here, from politicians to attorneys to bankers to minimum wage earners, you name it, retirees, you name it. Everybody's here, sort of the place to be. We got some special guests we'll introduce, and we're honored that you take the time to come here on a Monday, and look forward to hearing, you know, Jeff doesn't like coming down here after a loss. You know, he could have said the plane's having engine difficulties. Could have said Hurricane Irma has made me, but no. And I think we're still trying to determine, this is either year number 9 or year number 10 that he has made the trip to Little Rock. So that's worth a round of applause. I do know this, is that on this day, on September, September 2007, on this day, Jeff Long was named officially the athletic director. So this marks the 10-year anniversary today of him being hired. So let's give him a round of applause for making it 10 years. All right, we'll remind everybody, next week we got Tommy Tuberville. Anybody seen him do any network TV stuff? I thought he's done a good job. After that, Barry Alvarez will be coming in, College Football Hall of Famer. The week after that, Bob Stoops. How crazy was it to watch Bob Stoops go crazy up in the press box and go and hug Lincoln Riley, who was a Broyles Award winner a couple years ago. So really got some fun meetings coming up, so we hope you can be here. Gary Underwood, would you come up, please, in a word of prayer?
Well, Saturday I went from being an Arkie who was grieving to an Okie who was celebrating. You know, maybe some of you know how that feels. I know we're, maybe grieving the loss. Obviously, today's a significant day in the history of our country, and we've had these storms going on. So what I'm going to ask us to do right now is just bow, if we would, and just say a prayer to yourself, and I'll close it in just a moment. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the blessings that you give us. Use us today in your service. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, Gary. Good words. We appreciate that. I want to thank all of you for joining. We can't do this without you. Those of you that are 50-yard line members, those of you that just did $75, we can't do it without you. So thank you for being a member. You make us one of the best clubs in America. I tell you, you should hear the response from Mike Ditka, Steve Spurrier, all these guys who come in and go, wow, look at the crowd, look at the energy. This is, taking them back in a limousine. And so we can't do this without you. This is teamwork, and we know you can't be here every Monday, but we really value and appreciate you squeezing us in on your schedule every Monday. We want to remind you, you still can join the National Football Foundation or the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame to vote for Arkansans as well, so make sure and take advantage of that. I heard a phone go off a second ago, so go ahead and turn your phone on mute. If you want to let everybody know, you can catch this on lrtouchdown.com. You can go to our Facebook page and you can watch it live. You can go to the Touchdown Club app, which was given to us by Farm Bureau of Pulaski County. So you got three ways you can watch this thing. For your friends that can't be here today, we ask you to make sure and let them know. I want to thank our sponsors real quick. Twin City Limousine. Greg Hatcher is the owner of that. His son's being honored today as our Player of the Week. Can't wait to introduce him in a second. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Dale Bennett, for picking up our guests each week. We're proud to be called the Little Rock Touchdown Club. That's the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thank you, Gretchen Hall, David Russell, for your support. CJRW, Mark Raines, Dan Sawyer, Darren Gray, we appreciate your support and the great work you're doing for helping us support this club, as well as the Cliff Harris Award and all the neat things you're doing. And social media training for collegiate athletes is really, really cool. So check out CJRW if you want to see what they're doing. Some really exciting things. I do want to thank 103.7 The Buzz. Justin and Pat were out there again. Got a chance to interview Jeff. We've been doing that now for 6 or 7 years, and we appreciate that. Thanks to Arkansas Urology. Also, speaking of Arkansas Urology, I don't know if you know this, Rex, but this is Kickoff to Men's Health Month at Arkansas Urology. This Tuesday, tomorrow night, 5 to 8, right down the street here, they're having a free prostate screening. Guys, they'll give away TV every hour for 4 hours, so what can be better? You get a little prostate screening and win a TV out of it. You know, really, think about that. They also have this same free screening. Is that just too simple for me? Is that what it is? That's what my life is? That's tomorrow night down the street here at the Little Rock location. The North Little Rock location is September 28th. They do the same thing. Guys, please get checked. Please get screened. It's so easy to do. We appreciate Arkansas Urology being a sponsor and doing good work. 17 physicians, 8 locations. They're also the reason the Buzz is out here. They're sponsoring their live broadcast, so thank you. War Memorial Stadium. We want to introduce the new manager and the new assistant manager that are here today. This just was announced. Ron Sally, please stand, the new manager. Ron, please stand. Let's give him a round of applause. And the new assistant manager, John Latch. Please stand. Thank you, John. Now, Ron has been with Parks and Tourism for over 3 decades. So if that's not enough, he's also like a kung fu guy. He's like a black belt. So don't complain about that hot Coke too much at War Memorial, or you may get a chop there. But thank you. Congratulations, both of you guys. You're doing great work at War Memorial Stadium. Great to have you guys here. Great to have you as sponsors this year. Also want to thank Farm Bureau of Pulaski County, Shauna Hopper, Stephen Reichard, Todd Dennis and the gang, over 15 agents. Give these folks some right now in the football dorm. Financial investments and retirement. Good folks. The Big Red Stores, founded by David and Doug Hendricks, truly family-owned business. Where are they at right now? Where are they at? Now, this is going to be interesting. Is it 8? All right. Don't hurt somebody. Under your chair, there are 8 $25 gift certificates to Big Red. So don't elbow somebody in the face. Don't rip off the bottom of the chair. 8 $25 gift certificates to Big Red Stores. If you want something, raise your hand. Some of you need to start stretching more. I didn't win, Jeff. Jeff checked mine. Did you check yours? Did you check the head table, guys? No?
Let's check the head table.
Tommy, you didn't get anything? All right, who's got one? Raise your hand. All right, very nice. Thank you, Big Red. They've been in business for 20 years, 35 stores. Thank you, Doug and Dave. Great stuff. Yeah, that's nice. Hey, listen. We're giving stuff away every week, it seems like. We love to do that. Let me have your attention. This is like kindergarten. I've lost you. Got to get you back in. Shh. Got to reel you back in. Shh. There you go. Our next sponsor also wanted to put stuff under the seat, but they thought there would probably be some legal consequence. Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings law firm. Judy, we'd love to do that, but we don't think you can give away your time stuck under the seat. But they're one of the finest legal firms in the country. 116 years. They have over 70 attorneys. They're my personal attorney, and they always bring a great group of attorneys here every meeting. Thank you for sponsoring the Cliff Harris Award. And I know you got a chance to get up and close and personal with Coach Ditka last week, and that was a real neat deal. But thank you for sponsoring the Touchdown Club. Blake is my other attorney, and it's a family affair, so we appreciate you guys being involved. Crane Automotive, where are my Crane guys? Right down here. 17 dealerships, 900 Arkansans employed by these guys. Go to Crane. Tell them you're with the Touchdown Club. Ask them for a discount, and they'll do a deal for you. We appreciate Larry Crane and Chris Crane and Drew Dees. Appreciate you guys being here as always. The Democrat Gazette. Wally Hall, I know, is here today. They've been a sponsor since year one. Amanda Copley is going to come up here in just a second. We have our first high school All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week, and he is a doozy. Maybe the most decorated we've ever had. And I think he is. I think we'll support that here in just a minute. So thank you to the Democrat Gazette for being a sponsor. And Simmons Bank, we couldn't do it without them. Adam Mitchell's back for his second meeting in a row. He started a little sketchy, but now he's come on strong now with 2 consecutive meetings. We still haven't seen George Macris. We still haven't seen George, but you know what? He's running a $14 billion bank. Maybe he doesn't have time to do that. But that's right. Yeah, we appreciate both Adam being here and Barry Ledbetter. Thank you so much. This is the best presenting sponsor in America, guys. We couldn't have got Mike Ditka if they hadn't pulled some strings last week. So let's give a round of applause to Simmons Bank and all of our great sponsors. Encourage you to go to them and give them some of your business. They're great folks and they're local. That's the best part. Tommy, I see Tommy May down here. Great to have Tommy every week. Do want to thank the fine folks here at the Embassy Suites for all their help. Beth, Brent, thank you so much. Matt Johnson, Local Fidelity 6 back there doing our high-definition streaming that everybody can see around the world. Dwayne Duncan. I want to remind everybody, a lot of people have been asking for pictures. They're hard copy pictures. If you've been up here, a VIP or a sponsor of Ditka, Spurrier, or Coach Bielema, they're out there. They should be out there on the floor. If not, look up Dwayne. He does a great job, and we appreciate you doing all your hard work there. So it's neat to have those pictures. Hawk Media Solutions, RJ Hawk handling all of our social media. If you're on Twitter, go to at LR Touchdown Club. Of course, the website is lrtouchdown.com, and we've got the Touchdown Club app. Thanks to Farm Bureau of Pulaski County. Thank you, RJ. And, of course, our amazing check-in ladies. They do a great job. They do it for free. They're here 2 hours before. And our guys who set up the room with all these little cards and things. And listen, all this is teamwork, Jeff. You know that. We couldn't do this without everybody popping in. Of course, Debbie Wyman, our executive director. Let's give all those folks a great round of applause. I am excited. Our first All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week, and he will go down in history maybe as the all-time leading passer to ever play high school football. Amanda Copley, would you come up and say a few words? Let's welcome her with the Democrat Gazette. Amanda Copley.
Thank you. For more than a decade, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette has been a proud sponsor of the Little Rock Touchdown Club. We consider this a privilege. It's an honor for the Democrat Gazette to not only be a leader in covering high school football, but also sponsoring the All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week. Each week, it's a privilege to select players that represent the values high school football offers. We look forward every year to meeting these players and coaches who represent high school football to the fullest. Many of these high school players of the week will be selected for our All-Arkansas Preps team. They will be honored at our All-Arkansas Preps banquet June 16th, along with 400 of their fellow athletes who have been selected from across the state as the best in now 12 different sports, including, of course, football. We believe it is important to recognize these outstanding Arkansas athletes. It is essential to celebrate the immeasurable contributions that high school sports has made to the players and to our community.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. Let's give her a round of applause for her sponsorship. All right, our Player of the Week. Now, this is for last week's game, not this past Friday night, the week before. Senior quarterback Lane Hatcher of Pulaski Academy. 2 weeks ago, he completed 40 of 55 passes for 485 yards and 6 touchdowns in their 59-21 victory at Page High School in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. He threw touchdown passes of 17, 36, 10, 6, 27, and 8 yards, and he had a 6-yard rushing touchdown. So he was accountable for 7 touchdowns last week. Then this week, they're playing Ridgeway of Memphis, Tennessee over here, Pulaski Academy. They win 56-20. He throws 5 touchdowns in the first half. The first half. He is a 3-time defending state champion as quarterback of Pulaski Academy. He's the 3-time defending state wrestling champ at Pulaski Academy. He's really one of the more unique athletes you'll ever see in America. And let's give him a Little Rock Touchdown Club welcome to our MVP this week, Lane Hatcher. I don't know what the NCAA rule allows, Jeff, but I hope you gave a good, strong handshake on that. You did. That's all you did. Did want to mention that Greg and Lee Hatcher, Lane's mom and dad, are here. Now, this is the third time that you've been honored, which is a record. We've never had a high school athlete that has been honored 3 times. And I think it's the third time in 3 years that you've been our first All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week, which is outstanding. And I know if you're a Hatcher family member, raise your hand. I know we got a huge section of family members. That's outstanding. Yeah, let's welcome them. And then, how cool of it, we have the Pulaski Academy coaching staff led by Kevin Kelly. They are ranked by Max Preps as number 27 in the country overall of the 17,000 high schools. Pulaski Academy is ranked number 17. They're going to be playing on ESPNU this Friday night at 9 o'clock. Kevin Kelly and your staff, where are you at? If you're here, please stand. Where are they at? There, stand up, Kevin, if you're here. Where is you by yourself? Oh, there we go. We're all over. We're all over. That is exciting. Can't wait to see you guys win another game. And, congratulations, Lane. We might see you back here again. You get out of school and you get to have a free lunch and hear a speaker and get a plaque. And you're loving this, I know. I do want to recognize a couple other guests here. I mentioned Tommy May. Let's give it up for Tommy May. We always love seeing Tommy May here. Tommy, great to see you, buddy. What a U of A legend, a Simmons Bank legend. Tommy, we love you. Lunsford Bridges, who was a key in supporting the Touchdown Club for so many years at Metropolitan Bank. Let's hear it for Lunsford Bridges. The governor has been here 2 of the first 3 weeks. Today it's the Attorney General, Leslie Rutledge. Where are you at, Leslie? Let's welcome Leslie, Attorney General. Great to have her and her husband, Boyce. Also I mentioned this before, if you have a family member, you have a relative that's struggling with Alzheimer's, and you're taking care of them, I want you to reach out to these 2 folks who are here today. We get them about every 2 weeks. It's Betsy Broyles-Arnold and Molly Arnold, the daughter and granddaughter of Frank Broyles, and they run the Frank and Barbara Broyles Foundation, and they are developing a presence down here in Central Arkansas. So let's welcome them. Please stand, Molly and Betsy. Please stand. They do amazing work, and it's really my honor to get a chance to work with them now that the Broyles Award now supports the foundation. Also, too, the head of the Razorback Foundation, I don't know where he's at, but we're going to ask him to stand. He's doing a great job. Scott Verity. Where is Scott at? Let's give it up for Scott Verity. And I mentioned today is the 10th anniversary for Jeff Long. Well, this gentleman has been coming down here for so long, I can't even remember. I know he's been at the U of A for 22 years. He's associate athletic director. He's head of the PR. He does so many things. I work closely with him on Coach Broyles' celebration services. He and Molly work together to make that be a special day for the Broyles family. But he does a great job, and he could write a book about Razorback athletics. Where's Kevin Trainer? Let's recognize Kevin. Kevin, where are you at? There he is right there. All right, it was a crazy weekend in college football. Let's welcome Rex Nelson to the podium, everybody.
Thanks, David. David Basil, the only man in America who can work in prostate exams, free TVs, and DQ blizzards into the same set of comments. Go figure. All right, we're going to start with TCU 28, Arkansas 7, and it's going to be like a good prostate exam. It's going to go real quickly. I'm going to be about like your doctor and say you may feel some slight discomfort as I read these stats. I don't know about you guys. I always want to say slight discomfort. All right, here we go. We're going to move real fast. Horned Frogs avenged last year's double overtime loss in Fort Worth. First TCU win in Fayetteville since 1984. TCU outrushes Arkansas 195-129. TCU 10 of 14 on third down. Arkansas 4 of 14. Horned Frogs lead in time of possession 33-52 to 26-08. That's it. I told you it's going to be fast. All right. Moving on, UCA goes to 1-1. You know, they lost to Kansas State in the opener. They come back and they beat Murray State 41-13. Hayden Hildebrand passes for 286 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Bears. Bears outgained the Racers 312-91 in the first half and had a 31-6 lead at the break. UAPB 1-1. They lose 52-3 at Akron. The Zips, by the way, are now coached by former Auburn head coach Terry Bowden. Remember him? I can now confirm he is officially as wide as he is tall. Anyway, Akron had lost 52-0 the previous week at Penn State. Arkansas Tech gets its biggest road victory in years. They go to Henderson. They win 26-3 to go to 2-0. Henderson's 1-1. Ty Reasoner, very good Tech quarterback. You'll be hearing more about him. 15-21 passing, 124 yards, 1 touchdown. He rushes for 2 more touchdowns. Q.A. Rose is the guy's name, who had 3 interceptions for Tech in that game to tie a school record. Ouachita also off to a 2-0 start after a 38-10 win at Southwestern Oklahoma. I was out there in Weatherford, Oklahoma, to paraphrase Lou Holtz. Might not be the end of the world, but you can see it from there. Drew Harris out of Benton, 3 rushing touchdowns for Ouachita. Harding, you'll remember they went 11-0 in the regular season a year ago. Well, they're off to an 0-2 start this year. 1-1 Southern Arkansas beat the Bisons in Magnolia 35-24. Mule Riders broke an 11-game losing streak to the Bisons in that one. They had not beaten Harding there in Magnolia since 1993. UAM evens up at 1-1. Boll Weevils go on the road. They beat Northwestern Oklahoma 37-35. So among the 6 Great American Conference teams in Arkansas, Tech and Ouachita are 2-0, Henderson's 1-1, UAM's 1-1, SAU's 1-1, and Harding is 0-2. Moving on, other Arkansas schools. Jim's alma mater, Hendrix, 2-0, 38-28 over Texas Lutheran. Quarterback Miles Thompson, 23 of 38 passing, 436 yards and 4 touchdowns. Lyon College falls to 1-2. 41-14 loss in Batesville to Langston out of Oklahoma. In the SEC, Alabama rose to 2-0. 41-10 in Tuscaloosa over Fresno State. Jalen Hurts rushes for 154 yards, 2 touchdowns in that game. Georgia gets it done in prime time on NBC at Notre Dame. 20-19. Winning field goal comes with 3:39 remaining. Georgia started a freshman quarterback in that game. But in another high-profile game, Auburn falls short against Clemson. 14-6 defensive game. Kelly Bryant, not the old Arkansas Secretary of State for you old-timers, making his second start at quarterback for Clemson, has 2 TD runs. LSU is 2-0 following a 45-10 win over Tennessee Chattanooga. Darius Geis rushed for 102 yards. Danny Etling passed for 227 yards. I was going to read you a quote from Coach O, but his translator got stranded in Lafourche Parish and nobody could understand him. Sorry. Tennessee is 2-0 following a 42-7 win over Indiana State, Larry Bird's alma mater. Ty Chandler returned the opening kickoff, 91 yards for a touchdown in that game, and Tennessee was off and running against an inferior opponent. Vanderbilt, 2-0 for the first time in the Derek Mason era, 42-0 over Alabama A&M from the SWAC. Kentucky 2-0, but Kentucky had to struggle a bit. 27-16 victory over Eastern Kentucky. Eastern led in that game 13-3 in the second quarter. In the SEC opener, South Carolina goes to Columbia. They defeat Missouri 31-13. Missouri led 10-0 early in the second quarter, but a guy named Debo Samuel returned the ensuing kickoff, 97 yards for a touchdown, and South Carolina was off and running. Ole Miss 2-0, 45-23 over Tennessee Martin. Rebel quarterback Shea Patterson throws for a single-game school record 489 yards, 5 touchdowns. He was 32 of 43 passing. 1-1 Texas A&M had to struggle against Nicholls State. Nicholls State in the same conference as UCA. They finally win 24-14 in College Station, but that game was tied 14-14 with 7:30 left in the game, and Mississippi State 2-0 following a 57-21 win over Louisiana Tech in Ruston. Nick Fitzgerald threw for 3 touchdowns, and he ran for 2 more. All right, in the SEC this week, as you know, Arkansas open, but it's Colorado State at Alabama, Mercer at Auburn, Tennessee at Florida, Samford at Georgia, Kentucky at South Carolina, LSU at Mississippi State, Ole Miss is out at Cal, Purdue at Missouri, Louisiana Lafayette at Texas A&M, and Kansas State at Vanderbilt. Now, Arkansas open, an extra week to get ready for A&M, but lots of action in the state. UAPB at ASU, Southeastern Louisiana at UCA, Southeastern Oklahoma at Ouachita, Southwestern Oklahoma at SAU, Northwestern Oklahoma at Henderson, Southern Nazarene at Harding, East Central Oklahoma at UAM, Oklahoma Baptist at Arkansas Tech. So you've got games in Jonesboro, Conway, 2 in Arkadelphia, Magnolia, Searcy, Monticello, and Russellville, so there's no excuse not to get out and see a college football game this week. One final note. 104 years ago today, down in the Morrow Creek bottoms of South Arkansas, a guy named Paul Bear Bryant was born. So it's Bear Bryant's birthday also today. Not only Jeff Long's anniversary. Happy anniversary, Jeff, for being hired, not his wedding anniversary. And happy birthday, Coach Bryant. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
And if you're directionally challenged, you have no clue what he said for the last minute. I've never heard so many southwest, northwest, east, west, whatever, but directional schools are tough. All right, I did want to make mention, just got this down. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it on your phone. The Texas A&M game is going to be an 11 o'clock kickoff. Yeah, I know. I told Jeff, I said, you want me to do it or you want to say it? He said, it doesn't matter. I said, well, I'll just go ahead and announce it. So hopefully there'll still be a great crowd down there. Nothing you can do. That wasn't Jeff's idea. Wasn't Jeff's idea. You know, the last few of those games have been late night games, if memory serves me right. So anyway, that's just out. What Jeff's going to do here, Jim's going to give him a brief introduction. Jeff, you're going to come up, say a few words, and then we'll hop down front. I'll do a little Q&A with Jeff, and then he'll open it up for Q&A. And here's the thing about Jeff. Doesn't matter whether the Razorbacks win or lose. He'll come down here and he'll talk and answer questions, and I respect him for that. And then afterwards, we'll do a few pictures with him if you're a part of the VIP club or the sponsor club, and then he'll be available to the media afterwards. So, Jim, would you come up and introduce our man Jeff Long? Thank you.
Okay, today we have a guest speaker that truly needs no introduction. As has been said by David and Rex, you can tell we're not rehearsed up here. They took my lines. He came to the university exactly 10 years ago to replace the retiring athletic director, the one and only Frank Broyles, who had served the Razorbacks as head football coach and our athletic director for 50 years. Each of you in the audience know of Jeff Long's many accomplishments in the past decade, so I'll try to cover some of the highlights of Jeff's life before he came to Fayetteville. Jeff was raised in Kettering, Ohio. That's a suburb of Dayton. And I've read that in the late 1960s, Jeff played flag football in the 3rd grade and couldn't wait to put on his helmet to play real tackle football in the 4th grade. In 1975, at Kettering's Fairmont East High School, as a 16-year-old, modestly built 10th grader, he was called up from the junior varsity to start the next to last game of the season against Troy. He led the Falcons to victory and then led the team to victory in the season finale the next week. And by the way, the center on that team, the senior who snapped the ball to Jeff, was the future head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, Brady Hoke. In his last 2 years of high school, Jeff was a starting quarterback running the Veer offense. As a junior, he threw 2 touchdown passes to beat Fairmont East's biggest rival, Fairmont West, 15-14. And West had come into the game undefeated and ranked number 1. Though primarily a running quarterback, he hit 48 of 99 passes for 648 yards, was voted the team's best offensive back, and to the All-Star team picked by the Dayton Daily News. As a senior wearing number 7 for the Falcons, he led his team to a 26-22 victory over Fairmont West. This season, Fairmont West had come into the game not only undefeated, but they had also been unscored upon. Jeff was named second-team All-Conference and repeated as the team's best offensive back and on the All-Star team picked by the Dayton Daily News. Jeff also earned 2 letters as a pitcher for the Falcons baseball team and received the Danny Pugh Award as the school's best male athlete. So it's no surprise that on January 23, 2016, Jeff Long was inducted into the Fairmont Athletic Hall of Fame. Now, in prior introductions of Jeff, I've mentioned some of the highlights of his college career at Ohio Wesleyan. I'll limit today's remarks about college to a couple of new items I've found. As a freshman on September the 30th, 1978, against Wittenberg, quarterback Jeff Long completed 6 of 9 passes for 92 yards, including a 41-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter. 1 week later, Jeff hit Joe Sylvester for a 25-yard TD as Ohio Wesleyan defeated Mount Union 19-0. And I think I've mentioned this one before. As a senior on September the 19th, 1981, Jeff threw 2 touchdown passes to Bob Wallach as the Battling Bishops defeated Kenyon 23-14. Now, in addition to his 4 football letters at Ohio Wesleyan, Jeff also earned 3 letters in baseball and graduated in 1982 with a degree in economics, then received a master's degree in education from Miami of Ohio in 1983. Now, all of you know the rest of the story, and now you know him as the Vice Chancellor for Intercollegiate Athletics and Director of Athletics at the University of Arkansas. Here's Jeff Long.
That's awesome. Gosh, I feel better already after hearing all that. Jim, that was fantastic. So much of that is true. All of it is true. I played flag football and couldn't wait to put on a helmet. But anyway, thank you, Jim. That's really the reason I keep coming back every year is you make me feel so good. Well, thank you. I am pleased to be back, and I do look forward to coming back here every year and visiting with our folks in Little Rock. So thank you. As long as David and the group that decides on the speakers invites me back, I will be here to speak with you. I'm really a couple other things I want to add before I make some remarks. First of all, we do have 2 other members of our Razorback Foundation with us, Micah Struthers and Susie Shin, who are live and work right here. They live and work right here in Little Rock, so that's a commitment we have to make sure that we're in communication with our friends here in the Central Arkansas area. I always enjoy when Jim talks about my past and high school, and then when he mentions the Ohio Wesleyan University. You know, I always makes me proud, the Battling Bishops. You know, I do appreciate you having me back because no matter how bad I've been at times in the past, you always still invite me back, David, and that's really appreciative. So, you know, I also want to take a moment here before I get to some remarks to say and make sure that we honor those who have been there for us for this country. Obviously, today's 16 years ago, we were attacked in the state of Pennsylvania, in New York City, and in Washington, D.C. And one of the things that has come out from that has been, you know, a recognition of those military people that serve our country and those first responders that rush in when there's tragedy in our country. So I just wanted to take one moment as we have heard the roar of Harvey in Texas and now Irma in Florida. I would just like to ask all those who have served in the military or serving now, or any of those who may have been first responders, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. You truly are American heroes, and we're seeing American heroes rise up down in Florida and Texas right now as those hurricanes wreak havoc on our great country. You know, I know you join me in having your thoughts and prayers go out to them. And also want to just share, you know, our student athletes are stepping up in a big way. Our Student Athlete Advisory Committee has gone out into the community to raise funds and get products to send down to those areas. Last Thursday evening, a large group of them appeared on the Fayetteville Square and collected bottled water and T-shirts and socks and things that are very much needed in that area. And so, you know, many times we miss that piece of what's going on with our student athletes, but they are engaged. They came to us wanting to help. It's not something we've told them they had to do. They wanted to get out there and support this. And I'm sure there will be more relief efforts. And we call ours Razorback Relief. And I'm sure there will be more relief efforts now associated with Florida. And I know our student athletes will step in once again to help with that. So whether you engage with us in our Razorback Relief program or whether you simply reach out through American Red Cross or one of the other relief agencies, I encourage you to do that. There will be needs for many, many months to come. So, you know, this is my 10th anniversary of taking this position in 2007, and I just want you to know that I have never regretted that decision. I continue to be incredibly proud to have served the University of Arkansas, to represent our student athletes, represent our program, and I hope to continue to do that for a long, long time. Now, I know that many of you never thought I would last this long. It's okay. It's okay. I know you're out there, Rob James. I know you're out there, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm comfortable with it. I just want you to know I've had a wonderful 10 years and hope to have many, many more years in this role. You know, we have many, many positive things going on in Razorback Athletics, and I won't go through all of them with you today, and there are many, but on your table you will find a copy of our annual report. And I hope if you haven't already seen that and looked at it, I know many of you have received that as part of being a member of the Razorback Foundation or a season ticket holder. That truly is the essence of what our program's all about. It touches everything we do. It is, in effect, our strategic plan. It talks about what we do for student athletes on and off the field. It talks about the athletic success. It talks about the academic success. And I will point this out because we are incredibly proud of it. Our student athletes finished last year with a 3.25 GPA cum for all of our student athletes. Those are numbers that are extraordinary and are hard to find across this country when you look at a Power 5 athletic program. We also graduated for the fourth year in a row. We've averaged over 100 graduates per year, 100 student athletes graduating. When you figure we have some 460 student athletes, we're doing a pretty good job of getting them out in that 4 and 5 year period, and that will continue to show up in our graduation rates, and we are incredibly proud of that. You will see in-depth information in that annual report, and I do hope that you will take some time to look at it. One of the things that I think you'll find in there, and we talk about it often, is we are one of 20 or less financially self-sustaining athletic programs in the country. And what that means is we don't take student fees that add on to the educational debt that students enter into when they come to campus. We don't take student fees. We don't take direct support from the university, and we do not receive state-appropriated funds. None of those come to Razorback Athletics, and I think many times people miss that. They still talk about how we're costing the university money. Not only are we not costing the University of Arkansas money, we are contributing $3.5 million back to the academic side of campus, and that's above and beyond what we spend in all the scholarships, tuition, room, board, books, and fees that we pay for those almost 500 student athletes. So we're very proud of that. That's an important part about who we are, and we want to make sure all of you know that. And so also the fact that we are able to be financially strong, and I will tell you, I think we're in our strongest financial position in our history. Now, some of people out there think we ought to apologize for that. You know, I don't apologize for that. We set our sights on 10 years ago, growing from either 11th or 12th in revenues back in 2007 to now we're somewhere. It was a 12-team league then. Now it's a 14-team league now. We're somewhere in that 7-8, and that was a goal because we felt like we needed to grow those revenues to be able to compete in this conference. We're at $115 million in revenues now as our budget. We're competing with people with $150 or $160 million, and that's okay. That's okay. We've got the funds now to be able to compete. We're in range to be able to compete with those people, and we're doing it very well across the board. We remain one of the top 20 programs in the country when you rank all of our athletic programs. And trust me, I know that our success, for many of you, begins and ends with football. I get that, and I respect that. But I want you to know we have a strong overall athletic program. We're in the top 20 in the nation, and that's something that I hope all of you are proud of. You know, success in football is vital to our long-term success, no question about that. We need to be successful, and we're working very, very hard to be successful in football. And yes, we lost a game last week, and it's difficult, and nobody feels it even more than the team, the student athletes, the coaches, myself, all of us engaged in Razorback athletics. But we've got to pick ourselves up and get after the next game, the next event, the next competition we have, whether it's football or any of our sports. So we're excited about doing that. Yes, there's a little bit of a cloud hanging over us after a loss. There always is. But you know what? We got to shake off those clouds, and we got to get back at it, and we got to work at it, and we got to get better. And that's what we're going to do. That's the only formula for success that I know of, getting back to work and getting better. So I want to assure you that we're going to do that. I think over the last 9, David and I were, it's been a long time because we can't figure out if this was my 10th time speaking or 9th time. But either way, it's either 9th or 10th. Obviously, I think each one of those years we've talked about the future of games in War Memorial Stadium. And I think over that course of time, we've actually extended the agreement out now to 2018. There was some banter and talk a week or so ago about how we were going to buy out of the game in Little Rock. I just want you to know that, and I said this last week, somebody may have suggested that, or somebody may have said, yeah, they're going to vote, but that has never been a discussion point by myself or the chancellor about buying out of that game. I'm just being very straight up with you. We intend to play that game in 2018, and that will be an SEC game as the contract calls for. So I've not wavered from wanting to fulfill that contract. Now, obviously, I said last week, too, that we're in a time period now that we need to make some decisions about continuing to play in War Memorial Stadium or not. We need to make that decision because I've got to schedule games, and opponents want to know, where are we playing the game? Are we playing in Little Rock? Are we playing in Fayetteville? So in my view, as athletic director, we're in a period of time here in the next 3 to 5 months. I really need to know so I can continue the games going on. So that's why I suggested that we make a decision, and the chancellor and I, just so you know the process, the chancellor and I will make a recommendation to the president and board of trustees, and then it will be up to the board of trustees to decide how they want to engage or not. So that's not my purview. It's not my call. I've been asked to make a recommendation, and we will do that, and the chancellor will do, and we'll be on the same page when we make that recommendation. Again, I don't have a timetable other than to say, from my view, I'd like to have a decision in the next 3 to 5 months so I can get on with the business of scheduling football games. So that's where that stands, and there may be more questions about that, and certainly want to engage in those. So let's see. One last thing. Again, and I've said this, and again, I don't have any control over this, but whatever decision is made on games in War Memorial Stadium, I hope that we don't use that to tear ourselves apart, to rip up and try to make it a geographical statement against one part of the state and the other. That really does, in my opinion, does the Razorback athletics and Razorback football and basketball and everything. It doesn't do us any good. We are a small state, and we're proud of that. And we wear that on our shoulder, and we compete knowing that we're a little bit of an underdog. But we need everybody pulling together, and I mean that sincerely. We will not be able to be successful on the high level unless we have everybody across the state pulling for us, because we are a small state. So, and I know it's going to be, either way we go, it will be disappointing to some. I understand that. But I hope, whatever way it goes, you'll be able to put that disappointment aside and pull for the Razorbacks and help the Razorbacks succeed in the future. So with that, again, I really am honored to be here. I'm proud to be here and represent, and I'm looking forward now to taking some questions from David and others.
So let's go right there. Okay. I did want to mention, check, is this on? Matt, check, check. What's that? Check, check. I do want to make mention. Nope. Thanks, Bruce.
Which is your good side, David?
I don't have either. You're the only one of us that stayed in shape the last 10 years between the two of us.
No.
Not working? Oh. Okay. I did want to say real quick. Go ahead.
I got one other thing too. I'm getting. I did put on that helmet in the 4th grade, so I've been hit in the head a few times over the years. But I wanted to, if I didn't already, just publicly recognize David Basil for his job he did at the Royals Celebration of Life. David, I was. You deserve a round of applause. I know the family is appreciative. You did a phenomenal job, and under, difficult situation, representing, wanting to make sure that you honored Coach Broyles the right way, that you met the family's expectations, and Razorback Athletics was you that day were representing the University of Arkansas. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. You did a tremendous job.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Thanks for saying that. Thank you. I'm a loud talker, so you'll be able to hit me without a mic until Matt gets it up here. I did want to make mention that in this nice magazine here, which is really well done, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Touchdown Club is represented in here. Let me
You
see.
are.
Yeah. Twice?
Twice.
Look at there. How about the Touchdown Club being in the program? There we go. We like that. Thank you. Jeff, I did want to ask, till we get this mic here, don't let me fall off. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years. That's the hard thing. I can remember when you had just gotten the job, and can you go back and reflect on that first year? You're having to fill the shoes of a legendary figure like Coach Broyles, been here 50 years, and you're the outsider guy coming in. Just what are your reflections of that time?
Well, at that time, unbeknownst to me, when I took the job, quite honestly, I was taking literally Coach Broyles' job, which was the men's athletic director. But it was a few short months into that waiting period that I was into when I was going to take over January 1 that Dr. White and others decided that we would combine the programs. So really I had a very unexpected kind of beginning to my team because I was getting ready to take over a program with really 8 sports. I'll speak louder. 8 sports and only 5 head coaches. So that all changed within a matter of weeks when they announced that we would be combining the program. So I really had to take over just a totally different. Really had to change course and set a new direction. There was talk that over a couple of years, that we may combine the programs, but and I wanted that. I accepted that and wanted to. I just didn't expect to do it in the first months on the job to start combining the 2 programs.
10 years. What if you had to say one thing that's changed? I think 10 years ago, I don't think we had Twitter 10 years ago. I think as social media, what's been the biggest change for you in the 10 years?
Social media was just starting to rear its either positive or ugly head, depending on your perspective, right? It's just like anything, things can be used for good and things can be used for bad. But yeah, I think nowadays that the social media aspect, the instant recognition and knowledge by your fan base of what's going on is something that you're aware of, and it can be very positive as well. So
yeah, you're obviously been married to Fanny for how many years now?
Well, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
August 1st, we celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary,
Very nice.
and I don't think it showed up in the Central Arkansas Democrat Gazette, but we did have last Sunday, if you go to the Northwest Arkansas section, we have a nice little 21st anniversary picture. And I'm going to tell a story since you asked, and I know you want to get to football, but my wife a whole year in advance said, you know what, she wanted us to renew our vows, and she wanted us to go to Thorn Crown Chapel. If you haven't been there, it's a lovely place outside of Eureka Springs. And, of course, I'm the husband. I'm going mile a minute, and she's planning this thing for a year, right? I figured, all right, I'm going to show up on game day, and I'll be ready. Well, so I did. I got to August 1st, and, we were going to go out to Thorn Crown, and my 2 daughters and my mother were going to join us for this renewing of the vows. And she had a minister for us, and we went out there. But the jaw dropper for me was we did the commitment vows. And then my wife stunned me. She sang me a love song, and I did not know my wife could sing. And she had taken lessons for an entire year to sing this song. So it was very special. It was very special. And she gave me a ring, so I now have a ring on my right hand celebrating those 25 years.
Well, you mentioned you have two daughters. I think one is a senior in college, one's a senior in high school. What's the age?
Actually, my oldest is in her second year of grad school at the University of Arkansas, and she's in neuroscience research of some type. And then her plan is to go on and get her PhD at Arkansas, and then go on and do brain-related research is what she's planning on doing. And then my youngest, she slipped away. She slipped away. She graduated from high school and slipped away to Mizzou. So it's, we all have those children, right? No, you know what? I couldn't be more proud of her. She's interested in journalism, and if you have any Missouri grads out there, journalism is probably their number one program. It is their number one program. She's excited to be there. She's already working for the athletic department there. She was backstage taking pictures at the SEC Nation this past week. So she is enjoying her experience, and I think she's a go-getter. She won't have any trouble working through college, that's for sure.
You've been a high-profile athletic director. You were chairman of the first playoff committee, selection committee, and, what happened with Coach Petrino and the way you handled that. I got a lot of national attention. I think most of us probably in the room presumed that, and you probably did have opportunities maybe at Texas and a few other schools, Michigan, to leave. And so I think a lot of us said, wow, we're really surprised you didn't take advantage. You don't have to acknowledge whether you were offered those jobs or not, but we knew you were in the mix. Why stay here when maybe those opportunities? What's attractive about Arkansas at the 10-year mark?
I was sharing this with Scott and Kevin in the car as we were driving up today from the airport. I feel very, blessed is an overused term sometimes by some, but I feel blessed that both of my daughters, in my profession, you could move around a lot, and I did. I've been at 10 different universities. But for my two daughters to be able to, go through high school, elementary and on through high school and finish here, they have a home. Arkansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas is their home, and it will always be. No matter if I go on or what, this will be their home. And when you're in athletics, you don't know that you're going to be able to have that for your children. And, Arkansas provided that for me. I'm thankful that, I've been able to remain here for 10 years. This is our home. So my daughters want to come back to their home, so they want me here at the University of Arkansas. So please, don't run me off, all right? Please.
Well, speaking of, you have a game like the. Let me get to my point. Is the after a game like the other night, social media I was talking about. You have people. It's a way for people to voice their displeasure, and you got two daughters. I know one of them is on social media. Yeah. How difficult is it when they see their dad? I mean, you see it. Hey, we're ready to run off Jeff Long, ready to run off Brett Bielema. How is that to deal with your family?
My youngest will let you know about it. My oldest is smart enough to stay out of the fray. To be candid with you, I haven't been on social media since the game. It doesn't do me any good to hear that stuff because, I got to get up and go to work and be positive with my staff and be positive with our student athletes. And, it is, we all hurt from it, but you know what? We got to move on from it too. So, I don't spend as much time on social media after a loss as I do after a win. I got to be candid.
You have hired, obviously a lot of coaches in 10 years, and, let's just stick with football with Bobby Petrino and now Brett Bielema. How difficult is it for you to develop these relationships? These are guys you hire, you believe in, then to go through those tough situations where what you have with Coach Petrino, and even now, with having a difficult loss like this for Coach Bielema.
Yeah. Well, I know Coach Bielema. I know his staff. I know how hard they're working. So it isn't a question of are they working hard? Do they? And you know what? The track record that Brett has that brought to the University of Arkansas, I still believe in it. And we're going to keep working and working and working, and we're going to overcome, and we're going to have success. And it's going to be even more meaningful because of the kind of person Coach Bielema is, and what he means to the young people, what he does for them on and off the field, the standards he sets, the expectation he sets, and then what he requires of them. So,
From an athletic director standpoint, what kind of, if you're looking, you got a lot of fans here today, what would be the expectation? I mean, what are our expectations of our athletic program, whether it be football or whatever? What would you say?
Well, winning is the first one. It is with, is with every sport we have. It's winning, but it's not the only thing. We expect our young people to act the appropriate way. And then when they don't, I think you see a program that is known for responding to young people that don't conduct themselves appropriately. You find us responding appropriately. And we work with young people when they make a mistake. Depending on what the mistake is, there are some mistakes that are just not tolerated and they're no longer going to be a part of our program. But there's others that we want to work and help them overcome. So that's a piece. What do they do for the young people? And then what are they doing academically? How are they supporting the young people in their academic pursuits? And again, our entire athletic program, every coach I have is doing an incredible job with that. You don't get to a 3.25 GPA without that. But all of those things are important. And yes, winning is important. Now, contrast that, if you're a win-at-all-cost program, which we're not, and I've said many, many times we're not, then you don't worry about the academics. You don't worry about the conduct. You just win. And you know what? That's not, when I arrived here 10 years ago, that's not what the leaders wanted at the time, and certainly that's not what we've delivered. We delivered a program that I think everyone can be proud of from top to bottom. And yes, we want to win more. And yes, it's a priority. And yes, it eats us up from the inside that we don't win more.
Saw the big, very nice end zone complexes being constructed, Jeff, last week, and just that was a $160 million project. And is it just sort of mind-boggling when you think of the money that now college sports, it's the kind of business it's turned into financially?
Yeah, it takes a lot to compete. There's no question, and again, we're proud that we're in our strongest financial position. Yes, we took on $120 million in debt. We also pledged to raise $40 million towards that project to make that 160. There were those who didn't think we'd meet that. I'm proud to tell you, through the efforts of Scott Verity and his team and all in Razorback Athletics, we've surpassed that $40 million mark. So we've sold 37 of the 38 new suites. We have sold 50 plus of the 70 new Lowe's boxes, and we're about ready to go on sale with 2,000 club seats. So when we sell those out, and I believe we will go climb even further over that 40 million, which we will then be able to do even better pay down the debt. So I think it's a wise investment. The project will generate, I believe it's $5 million more a year on average than it takes to pay the debt service. So it'll make our program stronger.
I want to mention, speaking of stadiums, Kane Webb here. Where's Kane at? Head of Parks and Tourism, has done such a good job with the War Memorial Stadium. Let's recognize Kane Webb. I failed to mention him earlier today.
I had the pleasure to get to know Kane over the last months and enjoy meeting him. We had a nice visit, and I know he and Scott Verity are friends from years ago, and I even think he might know a little bit about that university my youngest daughter went to.
Oh, yes, that's from Missouri. I did want to ask, because it was not a well-attended game at Little Rock a few weeks ago, and hear your thoughts on that. I think we've talked about on our radio show on the Buzz about how it's challenging now. You got great technology where people can sit at home and watch games, and you have the challenge of making sure the ticket price is correct. What are your thoughts? Is there a legitimate concern for athletic directors across the country to say, man, where's the point here where we can't charge much more for tickets because people just stay at home and watch it?
Yeah, like it or not, fans are changing, and we have this conversation all the time. I mean, I would look around this room and say most of you that go to the games just love the competition that's going on the field, and you want to watch it. But that isn't what we're seeing show up at our stadium. We have those people, but we also those who want a social setting. They want a social environment. They want to eat good food. They want to have a drink. They want to be able to socialize, and the game is part of that, not the only part of it. So, that's really what we saw in all our surveys and such with the North End Zone. We don't have demand for just seating in the seating bowl on a bench seat. We have demand for premium seating with amenities, with food and beverage and all, and a comfortable chair, and so that's what we have demand for. We are proud that we have lowered ticket prices. We lowered them here in Little Rock. We lowered them in the upper deck of Donald W. Reynolds Stadium. So keeping prices down are important. We've also lowered concession prices in our venue in Fayetteville. We've dropped things by $1 for hot dogs and waters and things like that. So we want to encourage people to come and be a part of it. And then another piece of the North End Zone project has nothing to do with those premium seats. It has to do with getting elevators that allow people who need the more affordable seats to get up and down to those seats with those 2 new elevator towers, which are very expensive. But we wanted to make sure that quote, the average fan, those young families, have a place to sit at an affordable price and can get up and down to those easily.
Think about TV too. We talked about this. When I played back at my teammate over there, Cliff Henry, played, you would have a few games on per year. And now every game is televised. You got every game of every school, and so the opportunities for people not to have to go to games. I mean, back then you couldn't turn on the TV every Saturday and see your favorite team play, but you also generate a ton of revenue from those games.
That's right. Television generates a great deal of revenue, and every AD in the country is in a battle to get their students and get their fans off the couch, out from in front of the 80-inch or 72-inch television and come to the game. So we need to provide an environment that's fun for them to come to, that's different than being on the couch. And, that's why we put the big video boards up. That's why we've introduced, alcohol into the club settings, because people want to watch the game with a beer. They can do that on their couch. So that's what we're battling, and it's not just unique to Arkansas. It's every AD, every athletic program across the country. There isn't a week go by, and we watch these things, but every week we saw leading up to the season, we saw 2 or 3 or 4 more universities announcing they're selling alcohol in their general seating area. That's not something that I'm a proponent of. It's not something I'm seeking to do. But I will tell you, it's happening across the country, and I do think that the SEC will have a difficult decision to make, because there, as a conference, it's not permitted. But I think there are some schools who would like to see that rule changed and removed, so they could make an institutional decision to offer that to their fans. And when they do, the pressure will fall on those like Arkansas who haven't offered it to offer it.
I'm going to open up for a few questions.
Sure.
All right, here we go. We'll stick with tradition. Johnny from El Paso. I don't think Jeff's written a book yet, though, Johnny. So surely you haven't read a Jeff Long book yet.
He hasn't read mine. But no, Jeff, question I've got. I've been reading about you're talking about the off the field, the academic, and the on the field. When I saw that, I thought of a 3-legged chair. And I guess what my question is, when does the part of the chair, the piece that deals with the on the field, overshadow the academics and the off the field, where you may want to change the leg or do something?
Great question. That is a good way. A lot of people say 3 legs of the chair. Sometimes we talk about 4, but generally 3. Obviously, that's a decision that an athletic director and program has to make. Winning is part of that, and all 3 of those are important. And if you don't have one that's performing at a high enough level, then you've got to change that mix. So, academics, athletics, and then personal growth and the development are the 3. And then some young people are interested in the 4th leg, which is spiritual growth. And, we provide that as we can. We are a state institution, so we have to walk the line there. But we also provide those opportunities for our young people.
So you're leading to do scheduling, and here in Central Arkansas, I just asked, will we ever see a game with ASU? And if not, why?
No plans. Ask us, are we going to play ASU? And if not, why? The answer is, good, my friend out there, former AD, could answer that for us. No, there are no plans, no discussions to play ASU. We've had the long-standing policy about not playing in-state schools because we feel like it divides people within the state. Right now, from our point of view, somebody can be a UCA grad, they can be a Monticello grad, they can be an Arkansas State grad, and they can still be a Razorback fan when we're not, because we don't play those institutions. So, again, coming from a small state, we need as many fans as we can cheering for us and pulling for us and engaging with us, coming to games. And if we start playing those schools, then people have to divide their loyalties. That is not new. That's something that Coach Broyles thought about, and I've embraced when I came here. I've said here in this group that, when I first got here, I thought, well, this is crazy. Well, absolutely, we should be playing these schools. But I didn't say anything because I was smart enough then to sit and listen and make sure I understood what the feelings are in the state of Arkansas. I'm not from here, so I needed to listen and learn, and I did. And I overwhelmingly, the message I received from Razorback fans is, don't divide the state, continue the policy. So that's what I've done.
Ron?
Well, UAPB is an important institution in this state. It is a part of the U of A system, and we're very proud of that. I just got a text from Lonza. You know, we've been able to, their athletic director, we've been able to share some things from our program down to them. We're very proud of that, and they're very appreciative of that. So I'm for helping that program. It again is in our system, but the way things are now, we're going to play HBCUs from outside the state, and I think you're going to see that continue on our schedule in the future. Yeah, we have a whole marketing department that's engaged with all of those things and much more. So yeah, you can certainly send those suggestions to me, which then I'll forward down to our marketing representative. Chris Freet is the senior associate over that area. He's got a number of layers beneath him to work on those things. We have a new concessionaire this year, Levy. Their quality is better, but we struggled with the transition and the changeover from a new provider. So I apologize to the fans that experienced that. We feel badly about it. I honestly thought it was going to be a very positive change. The problem was that they had not been through a game before, and when you bring 72,000 or whatever it was, it caused issues. They know it. We know it. We're working on them, and we'll be better in the future. I hope you'll see that.
I think you had somebody on social media. I happened to see it during the game. Somebody said, tweeted, I couldn't believe it's the second quarter. We're out of water, or the Cokes are hot. And then somebody from U of A tweeted back, what section are you in? And so, you know, again, that's the amazing thing about being able to voice your, you know.
Well, we do use Twitter. We do monitor it. We monitor those things during games. And I would say, you know, we try to respond to fans when we see things like that. So, again, you talk about social media. That is a way that we try to help. Look, there's, you know, we miss some things. You know, and we'll be better in the future.
You were a former coach. I think were you on the coaching staff with Bo Schembechler? I know Bo hired you.
Yes, I was.
So you know a little bit about coaching. I saw the other day. I don't know if you saw it yesterday. The Missouri defensive coordinator was fired after 3
Well, my
games.
daughter, who's at that institution, quickly passed that message on to me.
Yes, and so
I think I got it before the media did. I don't know.
So that's the third game of the year. You know, Coach Broyles, you know, obviously we love Coach Broyles. He fired Jack Crow after the first game. So my point is, what do you think about, and there's been a tradition, not tradition, we've seen a trend the last few years of ADs not letting coaches, you know, continue.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I think that's difficult. I think when you change, again, I don't mean to comment on somebody else. I'm just going to talk in general. I think, you know, changing a coach in midstream, you know, it's difficult. It's most difficult for those student athletes. Now, you know, I would have thought you would have had a better idea of what that game plan, what that coach was doing as a head coach, that, you know, you'd be in a situation where you're not pulling that plug 2 games in. You know, I think, you know, consistency is good if you got the right person. And so you know, so we're gonna, but all of you should know, in my 25 plus 30-year career now, the pressure, I mean, it's just intensified every single year, and that's not, I'm not making an excuse. I'm just telling you, it's intense, and so you're going to see more of it. You're going to see more coaches fired in the middle of the season. You're going to see more people exchange it, and I don't think that's a good thing for college sports. I think that's more of a professional model. We're fighting very hard to maintain the fact that we are collegiate sports. not professional sports. And I think that is important, that, firing people in the middle of the season is much more the professional model.
I'll tell you one thing that bothered me, and we debate this on the show. Can I tell you, I can't stand the booing at a collegiate game. Can't stand it. I know you pay your ticket, and I know the coaches are making millions, but the kids are not. They're getting an education. But that just drives me crazy. And I know, obviously, we had a player that did not have a good game and was booed after he missed a play. I don't know about your perspective. What's your thought?
Sure it does, because these are 18 to 22-year-old young men. They're still developing. They've got their heart and soul into this, and nobody wanted to perform better than they did, and they didn't. So, but it's that too when you get in and compete at this level, that there's going to be that scrutiny. There's going to be that criticism. So you kind of know that as a student athlete. We can prepare them for it, but nothing prepares you when your name is in the paper and it's negative and whatever. So
last thing, 27,000 students. Jay, I'll let you go ahead. If you want to get a question real quick, go ahead.
I've been here for 10 years, so I think I've been assessing those things for 10 years. And again, like I said, we have a chancellor, we have a board of trustees. They're assessing these things, and they'll have the information, and the decision will be made. I'll be very candid with you. I do not believe that we should have this public debate that tears our state apart. I think we still suffer from that 20 years ago. 20 years ago, people talk about that. I hope that the powers to be will get together, make a decision, and we'll move forward. That's my hope.
All right, Jeff. Jeff's got to take some pictures, and he'll be available to the media. How about giving a round of applause for Jeff Long for answering questions for 30 minutes?
I enjoyed being here. Thank you very much, Little Rock.
Tommy Tuberville next week. Good job. I didn't mean to that whole thing about firing Missouri. I didn't know that.
No.
Yeah.
I think we have.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to criticize me for whatever I say.
Yeah.